You saw the title. You know what's going on. Yeah! We're ranking albums by jazzish, folkish singer-songwriter Will Wood and his backing band, the Tapeworms. These are the albums that I'll be considering, and I'll explain why as we get into them. Let's get it started. Okay. Will Wood's latest project, the soundtrack to the stop-motion game Ealu. It's an homage, both visually and musically, to Tomcat Disposables, with each song harkening back to the original single. It's a great accompaniment to the game, and worth a listen at least once, but it is what it is. A score meant to be played on loop while you struggle with puzzles. None of it is really memorable, though it does showcase a lot of stylistic range. A good sign for the future. One of 2 live albums, released alongside the mockumentary film The Real Will Wood. Don't let the names fool you. It's a compilation of hits from Everything Is a Lot and Selfish. 2 great albums, sure, but I don't think The Real does them as much justice as the studio versions. The complex layering and instrumentation is stripped down to a handful of instruments to be feasible in person. Part of this is personal bias towards live recordings, but to me, this album is more of a novelty. Fun once or twice to hear how they adapt each song, but I'll stick with the originals for now. Yeah, I know. It's one of Wood's most beloved albums, and netted me one of my biggest videos. But if we're just counting the big 4, it's probably my least favorite. What? To be fair, the intro is one of my favorite songs, period. It's thematically incredible, and the perfect halfway point between his 2 eras. But that also means that it loses some of the magic of each side of the spectrum. Around the midsection, it starts to lose me, and Love Me Normally just isn't the showstopper that White Noise, Dr. Sunshine, or Chemical Overreaction are. This album is mostly just a retread of In Case I Make It, with a few surprises thrown in. Still, compared to his previous live album, he's not trying to faithfully recreate the original on stage. He's armed with little more than a piano and a ukulele, making each rendition of a previous song unique, more personal, and intimate. You get a new experience listening, some songs longer or shorter due to the format. You even get 2 new original tracks, each memorable in their own right. It feels like a nice compliment to the album it's paired with, as opposed to a downgrade like The Real. While another soundtrack album, it holds the advantage over Ealu for a few reasons. First, and most importantly, it has a handful of vocal tracks that are among Will's finest. Each album from Selfish and onward has a distinct aesthetic that influences their overall sound. But these exist in an interstitial void. As such, they feel like a true distillation of his music. Great wordplay, impossibly fast piano, jazzy horns, and complex arrangements that provide harmony to his equally complex vocal range. You've got the tragic song, the vampire song, the yearning song, and the show-off song. The second advantage is that even when it's just 30-second instrumentals, they're allowed to be something more than Ealu. Not tied to a previous identity, Will can truly play around in this setting. Sure, there's plenty of reoccurring leitmotifs, even from previous albums, but they're used here out of artistic choice rather than obligation. The sound can vary from big band to ragtime to rumba, though there's still a distinct aesthetic here, like if the composers of Cuphead scored Gravity Falls. Remasters hardly ever make an impression on me. If you do it right the first time, odds are your audience won't notice the difference. But this isn't just cleaning things up and rebalancing audio. This is an album tuned up and remixed with the benefit of hindsight, swapping out alternate takes, emphasizing background audio, and even adding new sections. Everything's crisper, with parts of the song much easier to make out than before, like the backing vocals on Suburbia Overture. And that new coat of paint makes even my least favorite tracks shine a bit brighter. There's also a few demo tracks, giving a greater insight into the production process. The only downgrade is the audio filters on Better Than the Alternative, but I'm not too sore about it. For Most Improved, for catering to audiophiles, and for effort, it gets the number 4 spot. I'm not a fan of slow songs, or of crying. When I first got into his music, the earlier screaming parts of Will's discography seemed more appealing. Yet, I'd be lying if I claimed this album was anything other than a masterpiece. No matter what point in life you're at, it touches a nerve, whether young and uncertain or old and wistful. Stripping the music to its barest essentials, as with In Case I Die, makes what's still there stand out even more. The gentle whines as he plucks the ukulele strings, the echoing plinks of piano keys. Will controls the emotion of each song like a master conductor, building tension before bringing the house down as the music swells to a fever pitch. It's an ode to recovery at its most painful and beautiful, and a must listen. On the flip side, Everything Is a Lot lacks the thematic depth of its 3 successors. There's points it starts to make, but never follows them to a satisfying conclusion. But the music itself is incredibly addicting. Jazz and rock get wasted and make beautiful love together in 13 different ways. The energy Will gives the piano makes it sound like a different instrument in every track. It can go soft and sultry, but when it rocks harder than almost anything else in the discography. Most artists start out alright and get better over time, but Will's hitting it out of the park a decade ago as much as he does nowadays, with the exception of mixing. This album is also this high up, for many of the same reasons as New Normal. The 2020 remaster is a massive improvement in sound quality over the original release. Overall, it's the perfect representation for horny schizophrenics in their early 20s, which means a lot to me. Could it have been anything but selfish? The only thing wrong with this album is that it ends too soon. But in the short run it has, it's a descent into the depths of madness. And baby, insanity has never sounded so appealing. While technically no Will Wood album has a story, it's functionally a rock opera of the hero's journey. There's something the singer wants. They go through struggles and hit rock bottom in search of it, and return wiser for the experience. The album is structured to support this, and you can hear it lyrically, feel it emotionally. The minimalistic intro segues into the relatively tame 2012, before chaos breaks loose with Cotard's Solution. Hand Me My Shovel descends into an all-consuming mantra as everything speeds up around you before crashing down hard. Dr. Sunshine is a beautiful medley of each song's motif, settling the themes of the album, while the outro echoes the intro, providing a perfect bookend. The album is rife with psychedelic and psychological imagery, with more layers to peel back every time you listen. It gets even more intense than its predecessor at times, with the black comedy stripped away, leaving only the drama. It's a sign of maturity as an artist, and acts as a blueprint for everything that came afterwards. This was a bit of an experimental video. Everything Is a Lot is taking a while, and I want to talk about music now. If you liked it, maybe I'll make more. I've got plenty of artists to talk about. Till next time, see ya.